Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the 120th edition of Cinema Effect. I'm Zach, and I'm joined by PWSA's number one fanboy, Jaden.
Hello.
Well, so you're still going? Hang on. So are you both doing it?
I'm doing the Wordle at the moment.
You're doing the Wordle,
and I've got Movie up in the next tab here. I'll bang on the Movie.
Okay. I feel like but we needed to establish a challenge. Like, do you want to try and get the Wordle before I finish before I finish the intro? That's your time limit?
No, because I'm a bit of a dickhead. Because actually, I should be able to do it. Hold on, I've only got one letter left to guess. I mean,
I sort of already done it.
It's a bit, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe you can get through that and then also try to do the postal at the same time, I guess. I don't know. We'll see how you go. And we got PTA's number one fanboy, aka Fitzy, aka Liam.
Hey.
Both the Pauls making themselves known in the intro today. Very good. Both equivalent filmmakers, of course. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Cinema Effect, the podcast where we review and talk about a different movie every single Monday. And this week, that movie is Dirty Harry, which opened in the US on the 23rd of December, 1971. It was directed by Don Siegel. It is a crime thriller, and the synopsis says, when a madman calling himself the Scorpio Killer menaces the city, tough-as-nails San Francisco police detective Dirty Harry Callahan is assigned to track down and ferret out the crazed psychopath. Wow. How'd you go, Jan?
I got the Wordle, but I'm still working on the Movie.
I must admit, I was quicker than I thought. I feel like it takes longer in my head than it actually did.
Did you
impressed you got the Wordle.
Did you get it?
No. I mean, the poster was kind of, I didn't understand what's happening. So I kind of waited too long. It was obvious.
No.
Yeah.
But sometimes you have to let it go that time, because it's just hard,
Yeah. So is the game basically not to let it go, to have a low time?
Yeah.
It's like golf.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, so I guess it's also like running. Fitzy, what do you think of this here Dirty Harry? And was this your first viewing?
No, I've seen the first half an hour before. So I saw
Oh, okay.
I watched up to maybe when he rescues the guy who's trying to kill himself, maybe up to there.
How could you stop there? Riveting.
I think it becomes pretty great. I think once it establishes that it's just basically a hunt for this one guy, instead of anything else, it kind of becomes good.
I also haven't seen it. I think it's close to being really good. I don't know. It never quite hits it for me. It never quite leans into having this true air or feel of being an atmospheric piece that I really want it to. If I look at this exact same story, and it's got a lot of cool pieces, but I don't know, if I think about how Fincher would have directed this, I can just see a masterpiece in my mind's eye when I think about that idea. But it doesn't really lean into its strengths, I feel like, just from a filmmaking perspective. I just feel like it's a bit stylistically flat overall. I don't know. It never really truly engaged me. But there are things to like for sure. I like Harry as a character, and I enjoy watching Clint Eastwood act and stuff. So there's cool things going on for sure. But I don't know. It never quite stuck out, I guess, to me. But Jan, what do you think? I think you've seen it before.
I have seen it before. I really like it. It's the first time I really liked it anyway. And it's just so distinctly just dirty 70s type of thing. It's similar to the way that we were talking about Scarface. The way it is made is just not how films are made today. You can tell, and it works, and I love it. I love everything about that intro sequence. Just tracking Clint Eastwood, not doing any real detective work, but just walking around and pretending to be a detective. It's so bad that it's fine, and I love it. And that's what a lot of the movie is kind of. This rewatch though, I was I don't know, man. I feel like the fucking second act just disappeared. In my mind, I just don't know. And even the third act, I'm it's kind of just evaporated. Because I'm kind of the opposite to you, where I think the first, the first portion of the film is kind of my favorite parts to you guys, like whereas you guys are saying like it gets better. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I don't know if I have a clear trajectory like that with it. Like I don't know. I think it's also pretty similar to me, to be honest. I'm curious what how you felt about that, Fizzy, just because in terms of the first act feeling a bit confused. Is that what you'd say, or like how would you describe that point? Because I feel like I don't know. I was sort of I was in on the Scorpio chase from the start, but I don't know how you feel about that.
No, yeah, I like everything with Scorpio. Basically, I just think that at the start he's kind of he's kind of wandering around a bit, and I guess they're showing us that he's they're showing us his role in the police, that he he gets all the bad jobs basically, but it's just not as like thrilling as just the Scorpio chase. Well, not that the Scorpio chase is like close shots, like shaky cam like action or whatever, but it's like it's still really exciting, even though it's quiet. Like it's not immediately dangerous or anything, but it's kind of still exciting just to see like the commitment to him, I guess. I don't know. I think the acting from Scorpio is good. He's a crazy dude, You want to get him.
He is a crazy
you
dude.
want to see him taken down.
I'm scared I'm in Jaden's boat that some of the scenes are evaporating. Like when you say the Scorpio chase, do you mean like the second act, like Amazing Race that Clint Eastwood has to run around town?
I just mean the whole movie. I just mean the whole.
Oh, I'm sorry. I get it. I feel you. Yes,
Yeah.
the hunt. Yes. I get you. Now, Jane, that was the second act for you. Was that what would you say that's the second act?
yeah. It's you saying that Amazing Race. I was like, yes. I was like, yeah. Actually, quite like that. I like as a device. It's quite interesting. Obviously, it doesn't really. You can't just limited by technology at the time. Like it's cool seeing that. Like the way that using payphones and shit like that. And like to the point where that old dude answers it, like I think like that's really well built tension because you're like,
yeah,
because it's inserted right at the right point where like you're so invested in it, and you're like, no, don't pick up the phone, it's like
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you're right. I apologize for that over being removed.
How dare you forget the best scene? Yeah,
that's a banger.
He was. Oh my god, I was so mad at that old guy. What a piece of shit, Answer that. He's like, I don't know. Let's answer the phone. But I don't know. I did like the scene. I feel like it's the most unique thing the film does because I don't think I've ever really seen anything like that before. In terms of literally like watching Clint Eastwood like go on a marathon. But I don't know. I was kind of confused by it because at the start, the guy Scorpio on the phone is like, if I get a glimpse, if I get the slightest hint that you're being followed, then this is all over. But he is being followed the whole time. Like, was that just a bluff?
No,
you know what I mean?
He doesn't know he's being followed.
But he's like watching.
He's calling from one location, isn't he? And directing him to the next one.
So he's full of shit when he says that at the start, I guess.
Yeah, but I guess like if he pretty much. But
well, that makes sense. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So I was sort of like, I guess from my perspective, I was like, I thought. Because what's his goddamn name? What's his partner's name? It was generic. What was it? What was that?
Was it Chico?
Yeah, Chico.
Chico. I thought for a minute because he's got the walkie-talkie device thing. I thought like he wouldn't be able to hear what Scorpio was saying on the phone, and that was going to like ruin it. But he could hear what Scorpio was saying on the phone. So when Scorpio was threatening, like you better not be followed, I thought it was going to throw the whole plan off. But instead, he's like, I'm just going to follow anyway and risk it. It was just kind of weird. Like they didn't have a conversation about, okay, are you going to back off or not? Like, is this going to ruin the whole thing? You know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah. But it turned out fine.
Well, I think like the idea of the device, the walkie-talkie device, is that he can like follow him at a distance. At least I think that's why they got it in the first place.
Okay.
I don't think Clint. What's his name? Harry. Yeah, I don't think Harry. Like he doesn't care as much about the mayor's the mayor's orders or like the rules or anything. So he just wants to.
Yeah.
He's obviously like the whole movie is about how he's more direct, I guess.
A bit more dirty, would you
A
say?
bit more dirty, yeah.
Hey.
A bit more
That's
dirty
right.
Harry. Yeah.
Did you guys know this was a franchise? Because I didn't.
Yeah,
I had no idea.
I think it only gets better. I think like the later films are like viewed
Oh.
like better.
Oh, interesting.
I love San Francisco though in this movie. I think it's awesome. I love movies that are set in San Francisco in general, especially back in the day. But yeah, I think like that shot of him peering over the bridge and shit like that, or like when the bus goes over the bridge and you see like the whole island, you see the little like connective islands and stuff like that. And yeah, I mean the city. I guess Harry like wandering around at the start, kind of the purpose of that is to kind of give you a glimpse of like just like how the city, like the feel of the city and stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, totally. I completely agree. I love that a lot. I love all the aerial shots, like everything on top of the buildings. So you just see it's like you said, all the sweeping shots into the distance, into the bay and stuff is all great. They even do it's unfair because this movie's it was made 50 years ago. So for all I know, it was probably the first to do it. But like the classic now, like every movie set in San Francisco has to have the shot of the guy standing there next to the Golden Gate Bridge in that exact same spot, like looking out over the bridge there. I think it's where they find her corpse, whatever the girl's name is.
Probably comes more from Vertigo.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure if he actually stands on the bridge, but there's a scene next to the bridge, I guess.
Right,
under the bridge.
I feel like I've seen that exact same shot like 50 times. Like I think I remember it in Bumblebee and like
oh yes,
goddamn in the internship they do it. It's so weird. It's like totally.
Is that the one with Owen Wilson and what's his name? Is that the one?
Vince Vaughn.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's when you said that shot. That's the first one that came to my mind.
yeah, totally.
And I was like, "Am I crazy?" Or I'm like, "Is that bro?"
They do it all the time. It's so weird. But yeah, it's a cool shot. No, I love it. I just feel like I just love when I feel like it especially works for crime dramas for some reason. But just in general though, like when a film like really leans into its setting and like this is a San Francisco ass film, and like how just cool and authentic that sort of feels to its place and especially its time, it being San Francisco even 50 years ago is sort of fun to look back at, someone who wants to go there. It's just a cool little insight into it. And I feel like you see a lot of it, especially on the Amazing Race. I feel like that's the whole point of it. You like go to all the landmarks, Got this cool like park with like the big cross, which I presume is real, but it's kind of weird. Big cross in the park.
Is it weird?
I feel like it is.
Why is it weird?
Like, can you imagine going to Geelong, the Botanic Gardens is just a big religious monument?
And what do you think that Christ the Redeemer, like one of the biggest statues in the world, that looks over Rio de Janeiro is?
Yeah, but like...
And what about like all the Buddhas that you see all over East Asia?
Sure, but like, I don't know, like in Western society, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
not anymore. But
Australia's probably like the most irreligious Western country there is. Like I would say. But
probably.
I mean, like,
that makes sense.
Across smack bang in your town center is not that weird for, anything really.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Clearly not used to it, I guess then. I mean, where do we want to go? You mentioned Scorpio's performance. I liked his performance too. Like that whole scene where he's on the bus and he slaps the kid around and like the whole thing where he's making them sing. And that was my favorite part.
They gave me Joker vibes, honestly.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the new Joker film, but just Joker vibes in general. Like Heath Ledger, totally. Like vibes, yeah.
That was the most unhinged he felt like the entire time in a good way because like before, like obviously he's killing people, so but like other than that, like it's sort of just we get little glimpses of killings and then they sort of say he's a psychopath, and he does the Riddler thing where he like leaves messages and shit. So like I'm meant to obviously understand that he's a psychopath, but I guess earlier in the film I sort of thought maybe he has some sort of grander plan or there's something more to it, But when we're in that scene, yeah, he totally does feel just maniacal in a way he hadn't before, I don't think.
Sorry, just checking. You do realize like the direct influence that the Zodiac Killer has had on this film, right?
Yeah, I did. I read that in the trivia actually.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say, because like those leaving notes is the Zodiac, not Riddler stuff. It's,
Oh yeah, but I mean,
yeah.
like the Riddler is
Yeah,
that's the Zodiac, right? I mean, the Riddler's meant to be Zodiac sort of thing as well, I guess.
Yeah.
Not originally, really. I mean, he was
In
a
the
bit
film.
creepy. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. San Francisco, obviously, as well. Being the same.
Oh, true. I didn't even think of that. Of course.
I think like even that first note he leaves, like, isn't it like very similar to like the first note, like the Zodiac leaves, but like just with like the last like sentence swapped out.
Yeah, pretty much is. Basically, just a threat to the police to kill more people. Although, did the Zodiac did he ever request money? I don't think that was the case.
No, I don't think he did, because he never wanted to be known. He just, it was kind of like a taunting type game type thing, no?
He was in it for the grind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't even think about it all with in terms of the choosing San Francisco as the setting and the Zodiac comparison, because I did read in the trivia that the film was originally going to be set in New York, and then it changed to Seattle, and this was the third sort of iteration of the story that they had. And it just makes way more sense to do it in San Francisco then as a result, doesn't it? Like, yeah, it's just it's sort of weird I even considered the other options actually, but in retrospect, anyway.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the Zodiac film from David Fincher, do they not go and watch this movie in the theaters, or do they watch another Zodiac film?
Oh, true, maybe.
Because when they go to the movies and like look what they're already making movies about the case, and it's it's halfway through. Are they watching Dirty Harry?
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. It sounds right. It sounds vaguely familiar.
Yeah, I remember the scene you're talking about. I just don't know if it was Dirty Harry.
I've got some trivia here regarding Andrew Robinson, who's the guy who played Scorpio in the film. He was a theatre actor. He'd never been on screen before this film, so he did a good job. But Andrew Robinson created a backstory for Scorpio, which involved him being drafted into the Vietnam War and seeing unspeakable horrors. When he returned home to the United States, he found himself a figure of hate, and his war experiences, combined with the people's treatment of soldiers at the time, caused him to go insane. I think that's interesting.
No.
I don't know, like, it's cool that was thought, that he thought that out. I feel like I would have, maybe this isn't the point, because it's like, I guess it's meant to be a psychopath, but I would have found it more interesting if there were maybe like little visual clues to that in the film. I don't know, like even when you go back to where he lives in the stadium, his little quarters, his little house there, I would have liked something a bit more to sort of latch onto with his motivations, I think. I mean, I guess he doesn't literally have motivations, but his backstory a little bit more. I think I was just sort of, as I was watching it, I was sort of lacking that and would have been a bit more engaged by it. But I think it's obviously a cool backstory though, either way.
It is Dirty Harry in Zodiac.
Oh, cool. Nice.
I think he's too unempathetic and impulsive for that to be a good backstory. Like, I'm glad that wasn't in the film. But I mean, it would kind of be a good addition to like the kind of hippie kind of background, I guess, or the peace, the peace symbol and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I want to talk about Harry as a character a little bit. I like him a lot. Overall, he's probably my favorite part of the movie, outside of some of the shots in San Francisco and stuff. But maybe I'm a little bit torn. I think it's like really interesting thematically that Clint Eastwood plays this guy who's this outlaw sort of rogue type of good, I guess. Like, he's a police officer, but his whole thing, as we talked about, his whole thing is that he's sort of dirty and doesn't really do things by the book. And so in a way, I enjoy that it gave me vibes of one of his Western characters thrown into a metropolitan police department, like he's time traveled or something. And I think that's cool. Like, it sort of does feel like seeing how some iteration of the man who no name, with the man with no name, who had no name, sort of seeing how he would deal with being a cop and like modern society and things like the legal system and all that sort of shit, and dealing with bureaucracy and stuff. So like all that side of the thing, like I really like all the meetings he has to have with the meetings he has with the mayor and having to deal with that shit that he just can't stand, which of course sort of leads to the ending. So I think that's all cool. it was. It sort of did weird me out that, like, one of the ways that the film communicates this idea is that there's this scene where Harry, like, seemingly has to learn what laws are, because there's that scene where he learns that they can't prosecute Scorpio after they find the girl's body. And he's like, "What do you mean you can't prosecute him?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, because there's no physical evidence." Have you ever heard of? You're a police officer. You've never heard of building a case. You know what I mean? It was just sort of, it was weird to me. Like, I liked the ideas of it a lot, but in that scene, it was sort of just took me out of the movie where I'm like, how do you not understand how this works? You know what I mean?
Really? I think I get what you're saying, because we'd have to have that knowledge and experience. But like at that point, they had like the confession over. Like at that point, like as a viewer at least, I was like, I mean, as a viewer, you see Scorpio himself commit crimes, so it's kind of like you have that innate, you have the innate like belief that he's, the innate knowledge that he's like, the bad guy, or that he's done these things. But also like, yeah, like you just go into like Harry's perspective as well, and you kind of like you see so much of Scorpio from him that it's like you just kind of, well, I at least was like swept up in like the notion that he would obviously be, known as, he would be convicted or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think it's not so much that he has to have these laws explained to him. Like, it was shock that it was mainly built on the shock because he thought they had physical evidence, but then they tell him that they cannot link the bullet to the gun, and that's why he was kind of shocked, and like that's why they'll bring up, we have nothing. Also, he didn't,
okay.
say his rights, so like that's also like all thrown out as well. But, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
But like, because like to him, they had the makings of a case, but then they were just saying, actually, no, we can't do this. Actually, no, we can't do that.
Because it was a problem of like weighing, the evidence versus the, the misdoings or whatever, I don't know what you call it. But yeah, like they had the gun, and they had the confession as well for them. So it would have seemed like, to a straightforward person like Harry, that they would have a good case, I guess.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. That does alleviate it a little bit. I don't know. I still feel like, does he not understand that you can't torture a witness? Does he not understand that you need a warrant?
It's the 70s.
A search warrant?
It doesn't matter.
Well, honestly, like that, I don't know. I don't understand like the history of laws well enough to know. Like, if it were, is it a thing, honestly, where like some of these ideas are like maybe new at the time or something, and it's this sort of new world of I don't know, of like a level of bureaucracy that he's never had to deal with before. That was existent at the time. Like, that would make sense. I just don't know, because I don't know if they had all those laws in like 1890.
I think
but I don't know when they came in. I don't know.
I think that guy in that scene says like since 1901 is like some shit. He says some shit about like about that.
Okay. I mean, yeah, that does help it a little bit. I guess it's just more than that. I interpret the scene now, or the scenes, like the scene on the football field. I guess, interpret it now where like Harry is just even more extreme than I thought then, in that sense. He's not like, I sort of viewed it the first time where I was like, are you a bit ignorant? But now it's sort of like, I guess he can understand that, but still be like so enraged in the moment maybe, or because, the injustice of it all is such sort of inherent in his character. Like, that's, I can accept that. It's sort of a bit different to how I viewed it.
Yeah. I mean, Scorpio's guilt is obvious to him, and also I think he's pretty self-aware as well. Like, I love the conversation he has with Chico's girlfriend, where he essentially says like I understand Chico's decision. I think it's a good decision. And then he can't answer like why he doesn't, why he keeps continuing, with all these bad jobs and stuff. So I think he's an intelligent guy. Yeah, he's just like hellbent on, justice.
Yeah. I mean, that's what really see at the end. I really liked the idea of the character throwing away the badge at the end. I think that was really nice and sort of was a nice culmination of all that. Totally. Yeah, no, I'm glad you really brought up the scene where he chats to Chico's girlfriend. I keep like remembering it's like a generic Hispanic name, but then like doubting myself. I like that scene a lot too, because the whole time I'm thinking the same question. Like, why are you even doing this? And then he obviously, that's what's satisfying about the ending is that he sort of just comes to the resolution himself where he's like, I don't know either. Like, I'm actually going to do something about it though. After I just murdered that man and let him float in the river. That was cool. I liked seeing Scorpio's body in the river, in the lake thing.
Dude, I think we're reading Harry as different. I think we're on different wavelengths with Harry.
Are we?
Yeah, can you sum up Harry in like two sentences for me? Just give me a general statement of Harry.
I would say you just made it really hard. I feel like he is hellbent on justice. How Fitzy put it was nice. I feel like he is inconsiderate of convention and rules and just wants to get the job done. He can't answer the question for himself of why he does this anymore. It's clearly a world or a system that isn't made for him, and isn't made for what he represents and what he wants to achieve. And, you know, up until that point, it was sort of, I don't know, like he didn't know. So I guess it was just probably maybe like the being a police officer was maybe just the easiest outlet to exercise his brand of justice. Maybe I know it's probably like he might have just fallen into it at a young age. I don't really know, but either way, I think he just reached the point where he realized I can do better, I can do more without the badge, because that's literally at the end. Like he goes off, he defies the orders of the chief and that's what ends up getting the job done by he kills Scorpio. You know, and he probably would have been discharged after that anyway. So I think he realizes that.
Yeah. Okay.
Is that okay? Did I pass?
I think so.
James, were you thinking that Zach was thinking that like him throwing away the badge at the end indicated that he had some kind of guilt or something? Is that what you thought like Zach was saying?
You've got no idea how badly you've damaged my self-confidence and communication in the last 5 minutes. Now I'm going to reinterpret everything I've ever said.
My current ability to just fucking intake information. I don't think it's you. I think it's me.
Oh, that's fair enough. That's fair enough. That's it. Did you interpret it that way, Fitzy? Something about guilty?
No,
things?
but I thought you might have been going that way. That he was like feeling guilty at the end, so he kind of threw away the badge as a loss. Yeah, like as a sign of guilt or something.
As in being guilty for going rogue and killing Scorpio.
Yeah. No, but yeah. Well, I don't think he was, but I thought you might have been saying that.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think he was either. I think it was actually like the exact opposite.
Yeah.
In a way, yeah. I feel like I had some trivia that was sort of relevant to cap this. This is sort of might be a new thing. I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting. Eastwood has always maintained in interviews that the reason he took the role was because he felt the issue of victims' rights was being ignored in the political arena at the time, and he thought this movie could be a good way to bring it more to the forefront, which it did. I read this and I thought that was interesting, especially the proclamation at the end that it did by whatever user wrote this on IMDb. I don't really understand this. Victims' rights. Originally, I read it as bringing accused people's rights to the forefront, and I could see that because it does very much address like Scorpio's rights. But that'd be sort of a weird thematic thing to try and highlight by this guy that you brutally killed at the end. So that doesn't really make sense either. What like victims' rights are in the film? I feel stupid. I feel like I missed something.
I mean, victims' rights for justice, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, it could be something like that with the little girl. You know, and like how like the police were willing to let the little girl just like, you know, just have her death just be part of it and just like let Scorpio go type thing.
Oh yeah. That's right.
Yeah,
I forgot about that.
So it might be like, you know, like that kind of thing where like she wasn't getting any justice because they were just going to bury her.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, and all the other people he killed.
But yeah,
Like,
yeah, true.
at that style of the movie. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Now that just makes sense. That's just okay. I don't know if I'd word that as victims' rights because that sounds. When I think of victims' rights, I think of like their legal rights in the courtroom or something. Like it's not really the same thing. But
Yeah.
I think it's still something that's poignant today, and I think it's something that you've seen a lot in the past few years.
Yeah, for sure. No, absolutely. I mean, especially in like things like sentencing and all that sort of shit. What do we got? All that sort of shit to sentencing. One of those important legal processes we have in the Western world. What about? I was curious as well. There's a little scene. I mean, outside of the scene at the start where Scorpio has a good perv before he kills the woman in the pool, which was I mean, if you're up there with you got like a sniper scope, why not have a perv, before you kill the person if you're that immoral? But anyway, there was a scene where you get like a glimpse of a girl in the window naked. Is that meant to be her, like the 14-year-old? Do you know what I'm talking about? So the 14-year-old girl is pulled out naked when they find her body. There's a quick scene like midway through the film where they're looking on the rooftop. I didn't understand what the purpose of that was, but I was trying to make a connection.
Oh no, that was just Dirty Harry being Dirty Harry.
Oh, he was just looking at naked women.
Yeah.
Scorpio was trying to kill a priest at that point. The priest closed the doors. He was kind of bait for Scorpio. Yeah. So it's not the same person. He wasn't looking for her, the person in the window.
Okay. I see. Okay. That's good.
That's just a bit of 70s exploitation, it's just...
Oh, yeah. The hell, some exploitation too. We got the whole kit and caboodle there, didn't we? You know what I mean? We got the, I know there's some standout scenes, like the whole thing that he does, which is apparently famous, I learnt by reading the trivia. Do I feel lucky? And has he got enough ammo in the revolver to risk taking the shot? That's that recurring thing twice was quite tense.
Mm.
And also just is a great, I mean, I see why it's iconic. Like, it's very memorable. It's very tense in the moment.
So misquoted as well, It's it's worse than like the "I am your father" type thing,
Oh, I actually did copy this trivia. The movie's line: "You've got to ask yourself one question: Do I feel lucky?" Well, do you, punk? Oh shit! Was voted. Damn it! Was voted as the number 51 movie quote by the American Film Institute. That's the real quote. What you're saying, there was another piece of trivia I thought I'd had, that what you're saying, Jan, is that people often misquote it as "Do you feel lucky, punk?"
Oh, yeah. I was going to say that. I thought that's what it was.
Epic fail. So that was really cool for being memorable in itself also, but like it just perfectly encapsulates Harry's character at the same time, which is nice. But I assume the thing is that he knows each time if he's got the bullet or not.
Oh yeah, I reckon he would too.
I reckon he would. So to be honest, I don't know myself. I don't believe you, mate. I think you know. For a second, I thought Fitzy was like deeply considering the question, but then I think I'll just move on. That's fine.
I was. I couldn't come up with anything.
Oh, cool. No, that's fine. Oh, so anyway, I brought up that scene. I really like that scene both times, but I also just really like, sort of alluding back to what Jaden said at the start about, a time and place where films were made differently. Like that entire scene at the start, outside of the failed bank robbery at the burger joint and the car crash with the fire hydrant, like, so some really nice shots there with a lot of extras and stuff. Like that was a set they built. That's the only set. Apparently everything else was shot on location in San Francisco except that whole section. And I was just really impressed by that section. I thought it looked really nice. It was cool to see, like, that shot of like with the car tipped over and Harry walking towards the camera with the fire hydrant. That felt like 70s like grand filmmaking that we talked about with Scarface for sure. But Fitzy, did you have any thoughts on the music and the score? Because I felt it was kind of cool. It had a bit of jazz going on. I felt.
It was a bit jazzy.
Yeah.
A bit funky.
Yeah, funky, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a weird vibe, yeah. It's like... Yeah, I like that it's not trying to be, like, super... like, overtly, like, tense or anything. It's kind of more of a documentary kind of feel or whatever. The music feels like very true to the era, I guess. True to the
Yeah.
time period that's set in. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I partly agree. I feel like it sort of contributes to what I said at the start. Like, I like the music in itself, and I think it works for the scenes it's in. But at the same time, like, just overall, I feel like a different vision for this film is one I would have enjoyed more. Like, if overhaul it, have Fincher remake it, and still have Clint Eastwood be the same character today. Like, he can do it. He's 95 or whatever, but he can do it.
I really don't see this as a Fincher movie, though.
I feel I mean, I don't think it is currently. I feel like I'd enjoy it more if it were one. But is that what you're saying? You disagree with?
Yeah, I don't feel like Fincher would do this kind of character in a film.
Oh, okay.
I don't think he's interested in it. Yeah, I don't know. Just a guess, I guess.
I
can't substantiate that with
Yeah, I reckon Dirty Harry has to be untouched because, like, I think if you were to make it in the modern day, it's just I just don't think you'd ever capture it correctly.
Mm.
And I mean, like, that's what you're saying. You know, you want to recapture it in a different way, but like, I don't know.
Yeah, I just think I'd be engaged by a different vision for this film. I think a little bit, but because like everything I've talked about that I really like with the San Francisco and the character stuff, like I feel like you can do that in a different tone that I would have, I don't know, would have connected with me more. Maybe I don't know.
I love the tone of this film. It's just dealing with serious subject matter, but like the kind of lightness that like that Harry has to his approach, and just kind of, you kind of just stumble about. It's good.
That is true. I mean, it does reflect Harry's own approach. So, like, yeah, that's interesting. If it took itself more seriously, that would sort of maybe be in conflict with that, which might not be a good thing. There were a couple of impressive helicopter shots, though, that really impressed me. I'm not going to lie. There's that shot of the concluding shot to the football arena sequence where the camera comes way out from them on the field, and it must be I assume it's a chopper shot, but it was just really cool.
Yeah,
because today, if I saw, it's so funny because like it's in almost. I mean, I would like it aesthetically either way, but it's almost entirely impressive because I'm watching a 70s film. Like if I were to see that exact same shot in a film today, I'd be like, oh yeah, I mean, it looks kind of cool, but you can just do it with a drone. So like whatever, you know what I mean? I can go and do it right now. If I buy me a drone and head down to the Oval, I'll do it too. You know what I mean? But like, it's entirely impressive because it was much harder to execute.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that at all. But like, there's some other amazing shots. Like, isn't like the first shot of the movie like where you just see Scorpio's hair, like, and he's like staring like down the scope of the sniper.
Oh yeah,
it's just really nice.
He did have some hippie hair. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Yeah, I reckon I am too. But like, I still stick with that kind of initial statement about just third act mainly now. Just kind of goes. Well, maybe it's just like so fast that I just don't like because like what happened in the third act other than like the bus shit.
I don't know, but he jumped on that bus and it was pretty wild.
Like what leads into that? I can't remember.
Oh, so Scorpio takes the
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. I've pieced it all together in mind again. It's much more. I was viewing like the football field, the kind of like the payphone and like chase as like and then like the final kind of bus thing as separate, but like it just connected again as to how it's all kind of linear. Right?
Well, like
the fragments have come together.
Yeah.
Well, like the bridge between those two things is Scorpio hiring a guy to bash himself in the face. Hit him in the face.
You just filled it all in perfectly. Yeah, that's right.
But like that's when the movie is like, okay, so like when, like what Zach mentioned earlier, when like he basically goes to the the lawyer's office or wherever they are, and they say there's no way that you're gonna convict him or anything. Like then that's when it becomes just a full on. Because the movie could have been, I don't know, something else, but it kind of just becomes all about just hunting for Scorpio, and it's like a weird game between Scorpio and Harry. Like Scorpio, like he like hires the guy to punch him in the face a bunch of times, and then claims it was Harry Callahan, so Detective Callahan, and shit like that. Yeah.
That was funny when he was on the news and it was like, yeah, it was this some guy. His name was Detective Callahan.
Oh,
I didn't really spell it out.
This dude.
Oh man, I must say, dude, when goddamn Harry jumped on the bus, I was impressed.
Oh, that was funny, yeah.
Because he was standing up perched like Batman, and I'm like, oh, that's a cool shot. Imagine if he jumped on the bus, and then he did.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
I was like, he's not gonna jump on the bus. Is he?
Yeah, exactly. He wouldn't do that. Yeah. The only other thing is the suicide attempt scene worth mentioning for the fact that is apparently what made Fitzy quit last time on his last viewing.
Oh, yeah. It was just like scenes of that with Harry wandering were just dull. I thought like that was just a dull scene in itself.
I found it kind of goofy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, like the start, the whole like first 30 minutes had a bit of a goofy tone.
Yeah, I think I prefer just kind of the Harry stumbling around, just kind of experiencing stuff than the actual like Scorpio kind of back and forth.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
I'm the opposite.
Yeah. I see the differences in what you prefer, but the distinction is real because then there's also that entire, outside of the suicide attempt, there's also the entire scene where like he's caught as being a peeping Tom. It's like a peeping Tom, and then they the neighbors just start abusing him. So like, that's another sort of example of that. I think it's sort of,
four guys come out of nowhere. It's like I was actually thinking, like, how did they coordinate this? They must have gone. Yeah. One guy must have gone to his neighbor's house and gone to the next guy.
I like to picture it was like, how, we're standing in a circle after we see a film or something, or like, we're in just one of our own social gatherings, like, a group of 4 or 5 of us or whatever. Like maybe we just walked out of. I just like to think we've walked out of Reddings and maybe rounded the corner just to sort of visualize the alley, and then you suddenly see this peeping Tom, and all 4 of us are like, let's go, let's get this guy.
Well, this opens up an interesting moral question. What so would you witness a peeping Tom? Do you bash the shit out of him, or do you let him peep?
Personally,
I'd yell out at him. I'm not going to bash anyone. You know what I mean?
It's not justice.
I can't let him peep.
That's not justice for the victim, though, and that's what this movie's about.
God damn it! Yeah, this movie. The moral of this movie is if you know someone's committed a crime, even though it can't be proven, kill them yourself.
Inflict punishment.
Yes. All right, very good. Let's get to our final verdicts for Dirty Harry. Fitzy.
I'll give it an 8. I think it's pretty great. I think once it becomes about Scorpio, I think it's really just exciting, and yeah, I think both the performances are great. Harry and Scorpio. So yeah, it's a vibe as well. It's a good setting, great cinematography, etc.
Yeah. It is a vibe. I like that. Jaden.
I wish I could rate it high because I do love like most things about it, especially like just like the way it's made. That's something we talk about a bit, but yeah, it's like the way it's made. It's just so fucking distinctly different. It's just nice. But I'm gonna keep it at a 7. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm at the crossroads that I often reach where I don't know, like right after I finished it, I feel like my engagement level was at a 6. But yeah, I'll give it a 7 too. I think I'm happy with that. I liked a lot about it. I'd also give this podcast so far a 7 out of 10. So maybe there's sort of an equivalent there. Maybe, Now it's time for our highlights of the week. Jaden, what have you been watching?
Nothing. Oh, Rick and Morty. I've been watching that. I've long been against Rick and Morty. Not against it, but I've been like, yeah, it's fine. I watched the first half of the first season way back when, I don't know, 2016 ish. Wasn't for me, Other cartoons did it better. But like, Rick and Morty has just become such a staple of pop culture, around this time, and like, I don't know. I just felt like getting back into it and just saying, like, I was like, might as well just put myself through it. It's 10 episodes, 20 minutes a season. Like, it's piss easy, and it's better than I remembered. I don't know. It makes me laugh like 2 or 3 times an episode, which is all I can really ask for. Later seasons, the laughs probably do increase. I think there's quite a bit of fourth wall breaking and like kind of a bit of meta commentary about like the making of it, like just throughout, like either if it's in like the post credit scene or if it's like just from it, like a character just thrown in there. But like it's one of my complaints with like probably the first 2 seasons, that the whole shtick of like kind of smartest man in the world is the grandpa, and then Morty's just a dumb 14-year-old kid. Like when you use that as your kind of main joke, it does wear thin really quickly. But like the show acknowledges that like very directly by telling you like oh, this is gonna be this type of episode or whatever, and like it's like there'll be like this string of like bizarre episodes, and then like like at the start of the next one, it's like, oh, this one's gonna be a classic Rick and Morty adventure, just us two, whatever, no none of this stuff. So like the fact that it became aware of that, and like it addressed like its kind of lack of diversity in kind of stories, like in a great way. So that's really cool. I don't know, yeah, it's quite good, yeah. And they know how to craft a dramatic moment really well. Is the other thing I was gonna say. Like, just the music choice they use is fantastic. But like it's like, and like both the moment itself and the build up to it is so satisfying and so strong and so good. Just because like partly because it comes out of nowhere, but not because it comes out of nowhere, but because it builds to it in the same humorous tone before like that kind of sudden shift. It's really effective, and it's every time they do it, like whether it be in the season finales or like just like a random moment throughout, like it's really quite good.
So you finished it? Yeah.
No, I'm like, I don't know, season 4 maybe.
It's not over, is it? Like, is there more
Yeah,
seasons coming?
season 6 is coming out like
Oh,
early
okay.
September. So like, yeah, I kind of wanted to try and
I see.
get up to par with it.
Cool. Okay. As someone like I am in a boat where I've seen like a scene or two and just didn't find it funny, and that was it. Like, so I guess I was sort of in your boat of being a bit of a hater. Is it something I should not write off?
I, well, answer like did you watch much Cartoon Network when you were younger?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you watch Adventure Time and like regular show?
Oh, I was a regular show person. Yeah.
I was a regular show person too. Right, but like it's like the creator of Rick and Morty is the creator of Adventure Time,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that.
this guy called Dan Harmon who also did Community. So like it like Rick and Morty is it's probably more regular show esque than Adventure Time kind of thing, but like it's kind of that style of comedy, but then just rated MA. So like just kind of a
Oh,
bit,
okay.
pushes the limits. And like the thing is with those shows, like even like I love radio show, and like I rewatched it recently, and like but like there's just some shit that just does not stick at all. And like it's the same thing with Rick and Morty. Like there's like you'll laugh at most things, but then there'll just be something that just doesn't stick at all. So like if
Okay.
those two scenes you saw are stuff that don't stick, or if they're
Quite
just like
possible.
kind of like the thing is yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. Okay. I didn't know about the creators and stuff. That's cool. Adventure Time is a show that I've seen a fair bit of it, I'd say. I never really got into it. Never really enjoyed it.
What?
Adventure Time is actually really awesome, kind of, because I feel like I only started to like it more with age.
Right. Okay.
But it's interesting looking back at like Adventure Time knew how to craft its like dramatic beats really well as well. So seeing that seeing that kind of seeing that brought over is cool.
Yeah.
Not just dramatic beats, but like whenever there'd be like a darker kind of like tone for like a sequence, like yeah, you'd see that come over. It's good.
Right.
Yeah, I love Adventure Time. I watched it. I got into Adventure Time in high school. After I come home, and I get home like 4:30. Adventure Time would be on.
It's Adventure Time. Nice. That's cool. That's cool. Maybe that's what I haven't seen it since I lived in Perth, to be honest. So talking a decade, you know. I was watching it probably at the prime of like its target audience. Didn't really like it then, but maybe I'd need to get back into it.
It's always interesting how these shows are targeted for one thing, and then like it's kind of got like this other mass group kind of popping onto it.
Yeah, yeah, it's cool though. All right, Fitzy, do you want to go?
I don't know. I watched like a few episodes of TV shows, but nothing like I had a few days where I watched a bunch of episodes from different TV shows.
Oh yeah,
and I just didn't really continue, even though I wanted to.
What was your favorite of those episodes of those shows?
So I started watching Supernatural.
God bless your soul.
Because of Jensen Ackles, because he's such a handsome boy. And I actually really loved like some of those episodes. Like the pilot is really solid. There's this episode with a lake in a small American town that's really good. The show is really good with emotions. And it's like basically, I mean, it's kind of like I don't know, the equivalent of a CSI kind of regurgitated like structure, I guess, or like recurring themes and stuff. But yeah, I enjoyed it. So I mainly just enjoy the dynamic between the two brothers, basically. You know, it's like the ultimate brother show, ultimate brother fantasy show. It's really good.
So did you start from season 1 and you watched like the first few episodes, or did you like watch random ones?
Yeah, I started from the pilot,
yeah.
So you're willing to commit to the next 17 seasons?
Oh yeah. It's like 25, yeah. I was like 15.
Holy shit. That's crazy.
But
isn't it like 20 episodes a season?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like 23. Well, I saw like a like the promo, an image of a promo, and like the guy, like Dean, he looks like so much older. Like he's so young at the start of the show. I'm like, holy shit, that's like a middle-aged man right there. What the fuck?
What is it? He's like this 10-year-old, and then he's like balding.
Yeah.
God damn.
Oh, a 20-year-old, yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Very nice. All right. Better Call Saul's over, guys. It's done.
Oh, damn.
It's finished. It's crazy.
My dad was watching the final episode. I was like, no. Don't.
Wait, what? You said it all, though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, cool.
I was just saying I didn't want to see spoilers. Yeah.
Oh, you didn't want to see it?
Yeah.
I thought you were suggesting, like, he just popped it on. You know? That'd be wild. Oh, man, I don't know. It was a hell of a ride. The show, just even more as it went on, like, it's always been different from Breaking Bad in its own sort of pacing. But just even more as it went on, especially in this final season. Like, looking back, you sort of see it too, but I think it really emphasized and hit home through its ending, its differences to Breaking Bad. It's really not like Breaking Bad in a lot of different ways. Like, any Breaking Bad fan should watch it. Like, it's not like they're different in the sense of, oh, you're not going to like this because it's, you know, too slow or whatever. It's different in its pacing, like I said. That's always been the thing. But aside of that, as the show went on, it just increasingly got very, very cinematic in a way that even Breaking Bad never was. Like, Breaking Bad's got incredible moments, you know, incredible characters, incredible drama, great writing in terms of developing plots and characters to create maximum climaxes and moments of tension and all that, so like masterpiece and all that stuff. But it never really, when I was watching Breaking Bad, you know, it's a show that's incredible and it's not a fault of it, but it's very much like it's a lot of telling. Like, there's nothing incredibly cinematic or symbolic about a lot of the scenes you're watching. Like, I don't know, I think about, I know there's countless conversations in Breaking Bad between like Jesse and Walt and Walt and Skyler that are the sort of the same. But I guess like the ultimate standout one would be like the Walt's monologue about he's the one who knocks. Like, that's a scene that's incredible, but it's very much Walt just very much just explaining where his character's at this point in time. Like, it's just he's just telling you. Not a problem. But Better Call Saul never does anything remotely like it, ever. It never has any of its characters just tell you how they're feeling. It never has any plot progress just by explaining a plan. Things happen in the show all the time where you really need to just read into the most basic of things happening in a scene. Like, there are scenes that just play out constantly and you don't even understand the very literal of what is happening until like 5 minutes in, when it connects based on very clever cinematic visual cues. Like, it really is reliant on the visual side of cinema than probably any other TV show I've ever seen. And it does things that, like I said, creates these cinematic moments that other shows would just, I don't know, they just have a character explain it. They just have a character explain it in 2 lines and that'd be it. That's not how they approach it at all. And it also, just as it went on, got incredibly, never to a point of confusion at all, but it leaned into non-linear storytelling a lot. Like, the show, by the final season, like, I don't know, 70% of what you're watching is linear. And it plays around with time a lot in a way that Breaking Bad never did. Like, Breaking Bad had flashbacks, I guess, to the extent that any other TV show has flashbacks, but Better Call Saul goes beyond flashbacks. Like, it's very much playing with non-linear storytelling completely, which in a very interesting way as well. So, I don't know. Yeah, it's really, I guess what I'm saying is that from a pure cinematic standpoint, I feel like Better Call Saul is like more impressive than Breaking Bad in certain ways. I guess maybe for more, like, if maybe more casual viewers who love Breaking Bad might be of the mind that Better Call Saul's a bit pretentious for them. Maybe I can sort of see that to an extent. It's not. It never has like the highs of Breaking Bad are so high because you're very much watching Walt's story play out very straightforward, very linearly, and it's a great story. But it's, you're watching it. You're watching him on his journey clearly from point A to point B to point C. And Saul just never really does that. So I don't know. I can see people disliking it for that, but for me, I just see it as an achievement more so. Like, I think it's great that they, instead of just making the spin-off show, they really wanted to up their game, and Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould just made something really, really awesome and really memorable. I didn't actually understand, because I went and looked at the, because I feel like I don't know, I was obviously totally wrong. Like, maybe because I don't really know anyone who's watched the show, I sort of felt like it was underappreciated at Better Call Saul or something. But I actually went and probably looked at the IMDb and looked at the ratings for the final episode dropped, I don't know, a few days ago. And the amount of ratings it has is incredible. Like, I had no idea. It's way bigger of a show than I thought it was. Way more people watch it than I thought. So all my thoughts about it being unrecognized were obviously completely wrong. But yeah, no, it was awesome. It was a great ending. I think everyone loved it. So pretty sick, bro. Pretty sick. All right.
Sorry, Zach. You're not convincing me. I'm watching Supernatural. Nice
I know,
try.
right? And it was even weirder. You were rewatching Breaking Bad before you watched the new show you can watch. You know what I mean? I can't talk. I've rewatched parts of Breaking Bad too. How can you not? And just, dude, the acting is incredible. It's actually, it's the best. It might be the best acting I've ever seen throughout the whole thing. Just saying. Now it's time for our question of the show. Is that what I say? Oh, we hand the show over to you with our question of the show. Yeah, but I mean, the first part worked too. Yeah, whatever. Last week we asked you, what is the best Clint Eastwood movie? Luke said, I'm counting Invictus. The question says best Clint Eastwood movie. Absolutely, it definitely counts. Anytime I get distracted, reading my 2,000-word essays helps me to focus. Thanks, Luke. He made me do that at gunpoint. Aiden said, Gran Torino was a masterpiece. Get off my lawn is my favorite quote from any movie. Which is, I totally get that. But it just sort of sounds like a joke when you read it. You know what I mean? Like, get off my lawn is like, that's like an ironic thing people say about old people.
Mm.
You know, it's like the best movie quote of all time. But I sort of get it. It sort of is. American Sniper was a directorial marvel, and Dirty Harry holds a special place in my heart. I really liked American Sniper too. Yeah, that's a good one. Andy said, I'm going to put Fistful of Dollars as my favourite, mainly because that's the only Clint Eastwood film I watched at home. The only other times I watched films either directed or starring Clint Eastwood was at school. Wow, which was Invictus, those days in Harris's class.
And $1 Million Baby.
And $1 Million Baby. Yeah, he says that.
Sorry, I thought that was the end of his thing. Sorry, I thought that was.
I was probably reading at a weird pace. I apologise.
Sorry, no.
How dare you? It's hard to immerse yourself into a film properly if you're doing it for a class subject that's not media. I will finish the rest of the Eastwood Leone trilogy soon, though. God damn. Everyone knows Clint Eastwood. Everyone loves Clint Eastwood. Do they? I think they do.
Yeah, he's survived like 3 generations of Hollywood. Who else has done that?
That's a great point. Yeah. I mean, I love a lot of his films. I feel like there's a lot of choices, so I don't know. I want to know where you landed, Liam. What's going on?
Oh, I guess I'm going to be boring, so The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. We're going to talk about that, so I never. I don't know. His performance in, well, for a few dollars more, his performance is probably better. There's more to it, I guess. But yeah, Clint Eastwood in the Dollars trilogy is I don't know, like the most like quintessential Eastwood, you know, like it's the most iconic, you know, it's like baseline Eastwood. It's like his original form, you know.
Sure.
But yeah, Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, you know. It's only grown better in my mind. I'll say that. It's grown beyond the scope of ratings. It's just planetary.
I recently rewatched that scene where the Ugly is running through the cemetery, and I think I said that scene was amazing in our podcast, but like I feel like that was an understatement at the time. You know, it was like incredible.
Oh yeah,
Jaden, where are you at? Are you going to go maybe a bit older Eastwood than Fitzy has? I don't know.
Not really. Just having a last minute quick look in case I've.
Oh, do you want me to go?
No, that's right. My choice is for a few dollars more. There you go. We've had all 3 of the Dollars trilogy mentioned.
Hey, yeah.
For a few dollars more, spectacular. So spectacular. It's not on the scale of Good, Bad, and the Ugly. But like the story is just brilliant, and everything that leads up to that kind of final climax is just like so worth that ultimate payoff. And the recurring theme, and the recurring theme, like musical theme, is just brilliant and one of the best pieces of music in film. It really is spectacular. Like Good and Bad, the Ugly is the one that's talked about. It's the most famous one, probably the most famous Western just in general. But for a few dollars more is just. I feel like I've said this before. Maybe like when we were talking about that, like all those years, like 2 years ago. But like, yeah, I feel like I've said it before. Like for a few dollars more needs not needs, but like it. I don't know, man. It is just truly brilliant.
Are you suggesting the theme is even better than Good, Bad, the Ugly somehow?
In terms of like cinematic value, yes, but in terms of like iconicness and like just like, you know, like kind of thing,
right,
probably not.
Okay. People don't have it as their ringtones as much, probably.
No, it serves a thematic purpose as well.
Cool.
It's yeah.
God, I gotta watch these films, man. Mine is, I mean, Unforgiven's probably actually my favorite, but that's boring, and we did a podcast on it. And it's actually close enough to where like I could actually see the argument for Gran Torino. dude, I freaking love Gran Torino. And talk about a film that I just was so engaged by, like, thought was awesome when I watched it, but that even since then is just like grown in my mind as this memorable experience. I feel like we talk about it sometimes, but like you never know how a film's going to stick with you. You can be engaged by it and enjoy it in the moment or not. But then sort of the aftermath of your memory of it is, and over time how that changes is sort of like its own beast in your perception of it. And that was just an example of it being like very, very much sticking out, very memorable for me. I just love that movie. I don't know. I feel like I'm also, it leans into like, I'm really interested also in just themes relating to aging and, old people's place in society and that sort of thing, which very much is sort of about in a way. Well, it's actually pretty much entirely what it's about. So, yeah. And it's also just very entertaining. Features a lot of casual racism as well, which is a plus.
Always a plus.
Always a plus. Oh, God. Do I have the balls to not cut that out? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how I'm feeling. All right. As always, we'd love you to submit your questions, thoughts, reviews for next week's film in the YouTube comment section. Send us a DM on Instagram. Join the Discord server. Whatever. One of those. This week, we're asking you, the next question is, which European city lends itself best to action set pieces, in your opinion? Let us know. So you can sort of...
either, just like, if you can't think of
Oh, okay. Lends itself well to action set pieces. That's good. I can change the wording of that.
You can put a slash there. Best / well,
I like well better. I'm going to do well.
Okay.
I think that's good. Let us know. So to answer this question, you can think back to, you can do a few things. You can like think back to some of the famous action set pieces of all time and sort of choose a favorite and go from there if you have enough knowledge of that. Or maybe if you prefer, you just, you've got a favorite city and you just think, yeah, man, I haven't seen a lot of these films, but I'd love to see a goddamn gunfight next to the Eiffel Tower. So that can be your answer too. If you just want to imagine it, that's cool too. And I saw the John Wick Chapter 4 trailer has Paris in it, I think. So, that shit's about to be fire. So get excited. All right, that's it for this week's episode of Cinema Effect. Fitzy, what are we doing next week?
We are continuing the Oceans franchise with Oceans 12, which is on Netflix, Stan, and Foxtel. Yeah.
Very good.
I don't think any of us have seen this, so none of us have seen this.
When there's like a multiple ways to watch this, what is your guys' go-to streaming service?
Oh yeah, that's a fucking good question, dude.
That's an amazing question. Totally agree.
Because whenever it's I don't want to answer, just because of future sponsor deals,
Yes.
I might hamper it. We'll discuss it, but it's just food for thought for the audience, and we'll have a chat afterwards. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's good. That's good. A little bonus question. Just ponder that internally. Yeah, go for it. All right. Thanks, Fitzy and Jaden, for joining me as always. We appreciate you being here. We appreciate you tuning in, listener. Have a great rest of your week, and goodbye.